basketball when they've added Buddy Hield and replaced Clay. Buddy Hield is actually playing defense for like one of the first times in his career. He has
Buddy Hield.
Dude, he has the motivation to play defense now, and he's always shot the ball so damn well. So I think that it's going to be, I think that addition's a lot bigger than what people give anything credit for.
Yeah.
My pick tonight is Warriors. I think they're hand Cleveland the first losses.
All right, welcome everybody. Trey, Josh, what's up, man?
What up? Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas, Happy Friday.
Christmas, a couple days late.
Josh, you look like you got a new like a nice clean shave, man. Like, or is this the Christmas scruff?
No, just trying to keep it. Always trying to keep it clean, but it's the consistent what I have.
It looks good. Looks good. I'm noticing more and more gray. I'm gonna have to do something about this. This is just getting. I don't know.
No, man, you're rocking it. You gotta let it go. It's all good. You're rocking it.
You can't fight it, man. Can't fight.
All right, who's eating the most Christmas cookies on this call? Because I'm probably up to 3 dozen at this point.
Normally I'd say
on the heater.
If we added like all the other stuff, the pie and the cake and everything, it's pretty high.
We made Christmas cookies to give away to our neighbors and didn't do it.
Just ate them all.
We just ate them all. Whoops. My man.
Oh my goodness.
All right, what's your favorite Christmas cookie before we get into the basketball chatter? You got one? Some good ones out there. Got the chocolate crinkles, sugar cookies.
So my girlfriend and I went home to Atlanta, hang out with my family for Christmas. My mom makes this chocolate cheesecake for Christmas. So that's always the route that we go. So there's typically not cookies. We went to my cousins and they had some cookies. They made these little snowman cookies. One of them, so they made these little sugar cookies that were snowman themed, but then they also had these other cookies that had ricotta cheese, which kind of sounds nasty, but it actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It's almost like having a sweet Ritz cracker.
With cheese. It tasted like a normal cookie, just like not as crazy sugary, but you didn't get the cheese aspect. I know. I read it and I said, I don't want to do it, but my little cousins made it, so I kind of had to try it. And I took half a bite. It was a small one, and then I finished it. It was good. It was okay.
That's like the first time that you eat a maple bacon bar donut. Right. Like that. It sounds weird, but it is unbelievable. You know what I'm talking about, Caleb, about the Voodoo Donuts up in Portland?
Yeah.
That maple bacon bar is sinful, man. It's crazy. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I'd say for me, it's just like the ones with the frosting on them. You can eat so many of those so quickly. You're like, I just had 7 of those and I'm still eating them,
It's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Little milk. So, oh man.
I'd say I'm at least a couple dozen, but then you had the chocolate cream pie that my wife made and the apple pie, and
we had a chocolate mousse cream pie with whip topping and stuff. Yeah, that was crazy too.
With Oreo cookie crust, she makes it with Oreo cookie crust. Oh,
I think they graham cracker crust, but that's pretty good.
Yeah. Warm apple pie with vanilla ice cream can't beat it.
Can't be beat. That's classic. That's classic. Can't be beat. We make a strawberry. So it's a strawberry Jello salad, which is no salad a part of it all. It's a butter pretzel crust. So it's like pretzels crushed up, butter makes the crust, and then you put on whipped topping, and on top of that is Jello, strawberry Jello, and you let that mold, and then it's crazy.
And they do it different in Kansas City, St. Louis.
Yeah, Well, in St. Louis, it's gooey butter cake, which I'm not a big fan of gooey butter cake, but that is good. Like I didn't grow up with it. So Kansas City does not do gooey butter. Well, they might now, but they didn't when I was growing up, or at least not the circles we ran in. So when I got married and came to St. Louis in 2005, I started trying gooey butter cake. It was too rich. Like some things are just too rich for your palate. That one for me it just goes over the top. I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's the top ice cream flavor at Jenny's Ice Cream, no doubt. I've never actually had real gooey butter cake, but what they've got at Jenny's is it's
like, okay, so imagine a brownie that's not cooked all the way, so it's really still gooey.
Yeah, just mushy.
But then sugar, powdered sugar, butter, sugar. That's it. That's all it is.
It's a little too much.
That's what gooey butter. It's just too much, man. It's just too much.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy.
That's awesome. So you guys probably noticed we're missing Tommy. He's going to pipe in from the comments today. He's
living
under the weather. So
get better soon, Tommy.
Yep.
Yeah, Tommy. Hope you're doing better. He's a little livid though. He's not happy about
No,
Jalen Johnson put him out.
Awesome. So Christmas Day winners and losers. I know we had a little chat going that the Warriors Lakers game was a pretty good game, exciting ending.
Oh yeah,
I think we
That was a great game. Although I will say this, I was a little disappointed that it finished on a layup to the basket. I mean, and you have to respect the 3-point shot, but it was a tie game, so they only needed 2. It's like, oh, they gave up a layup. Oh, that was a bad way to end the game. You want like a Kawhi Leonard fadeaway 3 in the corner that like tough shot kind of thing, but
yeah,
to give up a layup was unfortunate. But Curry
Smart
can make
play.
a comeback, hitting the threes. Definitely exciting. I will say this: I think the NBA might be picking a fight with the wrong people on Christmas Day, in my opinion.
what are you talking about?
Well, LeBron at the post game thing, he said, "We love the NFL, but Christmas is our day." And then you look at the ratings and go, "Oh, that hurts."
yeah,
That one hurt a little bit. The football game's got 25 mil. The basketball game's around 5 mil.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can compete with the NFL.
Like, why don't you just be friends? Just be like, man, hey, this is a sports day. This is America's sports day or whatever. If you want to go that route, but maybe they just want
It's
to be
just a fun light jab, that's all.
Yeah, a jab at a giant. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so
That's
the
for sure.
first game was Knicks Spurs. Wemby, I think he had 42 and some crazy amount of rebounds, and
Yeah.
but in a loss. So
Yeah.
the Knicks pulled it out at home. Kind of crazy. You guys? I didn't see the early games. I don't know if you guys caught that one.
I did not catch the early games. I watched a little bit of football and then spent a little family time. But I saw some of the highlights of these games. I'll tell you what, watching Wemby is like, it's like watching. I hate to say it like this, it's like watching an alien. Like he just doesn't
He
even
is an
look.
alien.
He just doesn't even look like a normal human being in the sense of what he can do. It's really
Yeah.
wild what that guy can do and how big he is, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I saw a
didn't
stat
watch-
on him.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kale.
I saw a stat on him that he has 91% more blocks than everybody else in the NBA over a lifetime already.
I mean, when you're that tall and that athletic, I can see it. I can see it.
That's
I mean, what's his
easily
wingspan? So I'm
believable.
curious. Do you guys know his wingspan? I mean, he's what? He's 7. What is he? 7'1", 7'2",
7'4", I think.
7'4". And what's his wingspan? It's got
I
to
would-
be 8 foot.
I would bet it's 7'8".
That's
Gotta be close
that's
to 8,
sticking in
so.
my mind too. 7'8".
I
Gotta
mean,
be.
how do you get off a shot? I mean, if you're playing the guy, how do you get off a shot? Even if you're 6'9", how do you? It's wild, dude. I mean, think about that. 6'9" to 7'4" with that wingspan would be like. Well, I'm 5'8". It'd be like playing a 6'5" guy. I'm not going to get off
Yeah.
a shot against a 6'5" guy.
You got to get into his body if you're going in and hope that contact's enough to keep him on
Maybe,
the
but he
ground.
could just
Maybe.
reach over a little bit, and he's like he has such the latest that wingspan makes all the difference in the world of basketball.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I saw this. I saw that one video that we watched where that stat was 8 foot. Nice. Is that what makes
the
NBA
stats
players
like that.
NBA players is actually their wingspan. So you could be 6'3", but if you have a 6'8" wingspan, you can play in the NBA because it makes you play like a 6'6" guy.
Mhm.
It's a big thing. If you don't have a wingspan, you might as well forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rondo is 6'2", and I want to say Rondo's wingspan was close to 7 feet.
Yeah, that's wild.
not mistaken.
That's really wild. Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah,
That's for
Wemby's
sure.
an alien, man. I mean, he put up 42 and 18. I didn't really watch all the game. We kind of just had it on in the background, but wasn't watching that one in particular. But Mikal Bridges had a really big game. He had 41 points, and the only thing 43. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
Mikal
well
Bridges, man, he's got the potential to be really good. I mean, the whole Knicks team, though, that's the thing. Like, they have guys that can score 30, 40
Yeah,
points.
they're
and
like
they probably
so
have
close.
Yeah, they've got so many people, so they should be able to still make a deep run. I really liked what Chris Paul said in the post game. I don't know if you guys caught that, but he was just kind of talking about. I mean, Wemby's mindset was it was more so a loss, obviously on their side, more than I think giving the Knicks credit. But Chris Paul was just like, look, because they're a young team. He's like, at a certain point, you got to just throw away the whole young guy stuff, and you just got to figure out ways to win games. And of course, Chris Paul's the older head in the locker room, but I mean, he's right, man. Like, you got to figure out how to win these ones on the road. Otherwise, like this is what's going to prevent them from being a playoff team. And Wemby's going to be the future of the league. Like just I think starting next year, it'll be his time. They'll start making the playoffs and doing their thing. Shoot, they may make a run this year, but man, if they find some, I forget who was in trade talks for them. De'Aaron Fox, I think, is who it was, because apparently things aren't good in Sacramento. But man, if they could get a guy like Fox, pair him up with Wemby, that's freaking dangerous, man.
That would be a good future, potentially a good future.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Josh, you remember when we met before the season, before we even started this, the Knicks were my pick out of the East. I still feel pretty good about that.
You should feel good about that.
You know,
I'm pulling the Knicks for the Knicks because I've always hated the Knicks growing up because they were against the Bulls, right? I was always wanting the Bulls to win, so I never. But I like this version of the Knicks, and man, they've kind of got if they can get the monkey off their back there in New York. I mean, New York teams have just struggled historically, but I like the personnel on this team.
Yeah,
they got the squad.
Oh yeah, you were right. 41 points. There was 43 minutes. I read the wrong. I don't know why they put the minutes first, but. Yeah, pretty impressive.
Okay, can I just ask this? If Wemby's going to be the future of the NBA, can I just ask that in these major sports that the faces of these sports will be a little bit tougher in the sense of like, I hate the flopping. I hate Josh Allen flopping. I hate when Patrick Mahomes flops. I hate it when NBA players flop. Wemby had this whole flopping thing going on this last week in a couple games. It's like, why? Just stop. Just be tough. You think Jordan would ever flop? I'm going to go back to this. Do you think Kobe would flop?
No,
they wouldn't. They would.
A little bit. The only basketball player I feel legitimately just did not flop throughout his career was Carmelo Anthony. He's the only guy that I feel like when I watched him.
You think Jordan flopped?
No, I'm not. I don't think Jordan flopped. I mean, Jordan had his rules and. Jordan got
beat up.
Yeah, the dude was on the foul line. He was a little bit, SGA's kind of taking a lot of stuff and is constantly living on the foul line like Jordan was. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't like the flopping at all. I wish that they would find and also give people text for that stuff.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you that whole thing with the Knicks where they ejected who they ejected. I can't remember. They ejected and then brought him back because they looked at the tape and said, "Oh, that was a flop off of a small trip."
She got caught. Was it Drummond?
Yeah, that's right. It was Drummond. Yeah, they booted Drummond. They brought him back because they made a mistake. Now, credit to the officials for actually admitting they made a mistake and fixing it. Yeah. But it's like, man, I hate the flopping. Like it just in any league. That's why it's one thing I hate about soccer. Like my biggest pet peeve about soccer is that you have these incredible athletes who will flop and who will pretend to be hurt, and then a minute later they're running down the field at 21 miles an hour. Like,
shoot, they may be the worst, honestly.
Soccer's the worst.
They act like they got to go to the ER.
Dude, soccer's the worst. But again, it's like don't let that bleed into basketball, boys. Come on, don't do that. Like, be tough. Like those Bulls and Knicks series, nobody's backing down. Nobody's flopping. Like they weren't trying to get a foul call. They were just trying to beat somebody up. Like they were trying to just beat them down. I miss that.
You're talking about the flopping. One of the questions I had for us was, if the viewership's down, what are some rule changes? And I think for me is bringing defense back to the forefront. Allow some hand checks. Allow more physical defense because
basketball's meant to be a physical game.
Yeah, it is.
Like you're supposed to touch them a little bit, like that. I don't like that. I mean, nobody got hurt whenever the hand checking was going on. It just made it a little harder. You might get a little slap, getting the hand out of the way and have to be a little stronger. Like one of the things that I learned growing up, and I'm coaching a kid. One thing I teach them all the time is going strong to the basket and making them pay for fouling you. Like, hey, if they're going to foul you, you're going to get 3 out of this. Not 2. You're not looking for a flop. You're not you're going to make a bucket, and they're going to pay for it. And I just feel like bring that. You guys are athletes. Bring that back, man. Like. Yeah. Let them be
so much of it though, I think, is the officiating. I mean, the official and shoot, you see this NFL and NBA. Kelsey just dunked on the goalpost, gets a tech, or gets a flag.
Unsportsmanlike, yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's just weak, man. I feel like it's just part of the sport in general. And of course, there's always crossing a line, like when the NFL players are doing like the gun shooting, emptying the clip kind of celebrations. I can understand the flags for that stuff because you're like, hey, man, you got kids watching and all those things. But of course, the physicality of the sport and when guys can't even just like taunt sometimes. At the end of the
I
day,
know.
if you don't want
Oh,
somebody to do that stuff,
okay.
don't let them do it.
Hicks on the Chiefs. Okay, Hicks on the Chiefs denies the wide receiver, the guys on the ground. He does this, and then he walks away. And
Got
they
the flag.
I know. Like,
That
come
was
on,
so,
you kidding
that
me?
was weak. That was
That
weak.
was so weak. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all. I mean, I think it's like the one where you dunk on the goalpost. I get that because you can actually affect the goalpost. Like if you hang on it, you could bend it. Like it could actually
I get
impact
that.
the game. I get that one.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. And I know he did that because in reference to Tony Gonzalez, which is cool. He didn't care about the fun, whatever. But some of these others, man, it's like, man, we grew up with Nerf guns and like, little plastic 6-shooters and playing, Cowboys and Indians, those kind of things. It's like, like firearms is a way of life. Yeah. And it's when I grew up, that was, but it's like, like Worthy lifted his shirt. He didn't even like holster a gun or anything. He just lifted his shirt and got it for that. It's like, not a fan. Well, anyways, we've regressed to talking about football. But I definitely think that officiating could change that. Some of the rule changes.
Yeah.
I wish they'd go back. I mean, when did zone come into play in basketball?
In the NBA recently?
Professional. Yes, professional. Because I think that's
mean,
another one. They can play man-to-man all the time.
It's been a couple of years. I mean, it used to be the zone was never effective because people just tear it up, and now it's like everybody's just shooting threes.
Right.
Yeah.
Go back to man-to-man. Take away the zone. Make them play man-to-man. Let them hand check.
Mhm.
And maybe move the line back a little bit. I mean, I hate to say it, that's an easy shot for those guys.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of the gripe though is the 3-point shooting. And this is what I find super, super ironic because I was just talking to one of my friends about this last night because we were going back and forth. He's a big LeBron fan. I'm a big Steph fan. And everybody now at this point, because Steph has legitimately changed the game, is obviously just chucking up a bunch of threes. And, then the Houston Rockets kind of in the James Harden days with Morey were very big on the analytics in terms of what was a good shot, what was a bad shot. They basically took the mid-range out and said threes or anything at the cup, inside of the painted area. And what I find super funny and ironic is when Steph was just making his climb, the one phrase that you would consistently hear in sports media all the time was "you live and die by the three." And we legit have not heard that phrase after, post them winning their first championship, and then especially after they won their second. But you would constantly hear that over and over again. And now it's almost like the league has totally shifted to where you like legitimately have to be able to shoot the three at a very high clip and shooting 30 plus a game. I mean, shoot, I looked at the stats. Wemby is 7'4". Wemby shot 16 threes on the Christmas Day game. 16 threes.
By himself.
Like, not 16 shots, but 16 threes.
If we're talking about before Steph, a lot of teams didn't even shoot 16 in a game. Before Steph really ramped it up. So I don't know. I find that kind of ironic.
And think about this: back in the day, you had to shoot at least like 30 to 35% to even get to shoot threes in a game. Like Steve Kerr and those guys, they'd have to shoot 30, 35%. But the math is you have to shoot 40% or better to equal shooting twos. Because you shoot twos at 50% clips. So if you do the math, you have to shoot threes at 40% or better to be better off than just shooting twos and shooting 50% like they do. And now Steph is a 42.5% career 3-point shooter. He breaks the mold. But most guys in the league are not shooting 40%.
Right. 30, 35.
There's probably 10 that are shooting at 40%, which is still impressive. And those guys should have the green light. If you're shooting over 40% in threes in the NBA in games, to me, you have the green light anytime. If you're under 40%, you better think twice.
Yeah.
You better think twice because you'd be better off going and getting 2 2-point buckets than 1 3, which is what's going to work out, in that stretch of a period. You're going to get more points. So I just think that Steph unfortunately broke the mold and everybody thinks that that's how you have to play when it's really like that's how he plays. Like he can pull it off and a handful of people can pull it off, but the league cannot pull it off. Right now the league's trying to pull it off and it's annoying.
Agreed.
I just brought up Peyton Pritchard. I just wanted to see his because he's at 41.4% this year because I know, but his minutes have gone up and it's funny, his field goal percentage has actually dipped a little bit, but his 3-points gone up. So interesting.
Well, that's natural because he's taking more threes and less twos. So it's gonna move more to that 3-point percentage if that's what he's taking.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of interesting. But that's another game that a little bit of a shock on Christmas Day. The Celtics losing. You know,
Oh, yeah.
to the
To the
Sixers.
Sixers.
At home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At home.
Sixers
You
are in
know?
full force though. They've got so many. I mean, on paper, they got a lot of talent. So
Yeah.
they're capable of winning those games if they play well, especially if Embiid's on the court.
Yeah, I mean, 5 guys in double figures. Maxi led it with 33, and then Embiid had 27. George with 12, Caleb Martin with 23, and then Yabasuli off the bench with 12. You know, that's pretty legit.
Caleb Martin, 23. I love seeing Yabusele in the league after the
After the
gold
Olympics.
medal, or after the Olympics, dunking on LeBron, and he's got a roster spot now. He's getting big time minutes. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just being in the right place and showing up, right? So,
Yeah.
All right, so check this out. I just checked this out. There's 49 players this season that are shooting 40% or better from three-point range in the
who's
NBA.
the best?
The best, shockingly enough, is the Joker. He's at 50%. 57 for 114.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, when you think about that, like all these players should be able to chuck it, in my opinion, as a coach, anytime they want.
Yeah.
Everybody else better think twice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Steph Curry's 38 this year at 3-point percentage.
Yeah. He takes a lot of tough ones still.
Well, he does, and he's a little bit shorter. But I mean, like the fact that Joker's shooting 50% from three, he's shooting 57 from twos. That guy should be shooting threes all game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 out of every 6 is a 3 for him.
Yeah.
It's just his form and everything. It's wild.
I know. It's
It's wild.
way up here.
But it's almost like it's crazy because it's almost like when you think about like Roger Bannister and breaking the 4-minute mile. It's like nobody could do it. Nobody could do it. Nobody could do it. And then this guy does it, and now it's like Joe Schmo can do it. You know, it's like the psyche has just changed. That this is an easy shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I do think the zone playing and the rotations, because some teams just don't rotate well, or whatever. You just get a lot more open looks.
Yeah. You got a comment from Ari here. Brunson's won at every level. I think the Knicks will win the title
Yeah.
the next 2 to 3
Love
years.
Brunson. Love Brunson. I hope
They got
that's
a good
true.
chance.
All right. I hope that's true. I'd love to see the Knicks get one with this
He's
crew.
They got to
Yeah.
stay healthy, and Tibbs can't wear them down.
I
But
know.
Brunson's he's the clutch performer, man. They've got so many good players. I think if they can just continue to lock in on defense and just stay healthy. I mean, yeah, they're capable for sure. I mean, they can win it this year legitimately.
Yeah. I mean, they've got, it takes me back to, I was just watching an ad for this recently on Netflix for Miracle, which is about the 1980 USA hockey team. They were not looking for the best players. They were looking for the right players.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you get a team with the right players, they can do some damage. And I feel like the Knicks have a really good squad. I mean, you look at like all of them, even like, Landry Shamet, like that guy, some of these players just fill roles. And that's what you need. I mean, you go back to the championship teams, the Bulls, the Spurs, the Lakers. They had the Derek Fishers. They had the Judd Bushlers, the Steve Kerrs. They had those players that just, fit these roles so perfectly, exactly what they needed. Man, you can do some damage when you have that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's all about how they fit together. It's so
Yeah.
And you got to think, I mean, because you got 3, you used to have 4 Villanova guys. Now you got 3 with Bridges, Brunson, and Hart. They've been
Josh
playing
Hart,
together forever. And then you add Cat into that mix, and
Yeah. A lot of good things can happen. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Tons.
Yeah.
Going back to the
I hope
Sixers
it
really
does.
quick. I mean, they've definitely turned it around because they started the year 2-9, 2-10, something like that. They're at 11-17 now. I mean, they're not
They were at the bottom.
quite in the play-in right now. Tommy's Bulls are still in the same spot right now at 13-18.
Won 7 of the last 10 though.
Yeah, they're starting to heat up. I mean, a lot of it's just, again, they've got to be healthy, and then they got to learn how to play with each other. And Paul George can't be shooting over 7 from 3, but those guys are going to be ones to watch. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be playing them first round if they're a lower seed.
No. Yeah.
Matchup problems all across the board.
Exactly. Yeah, no doubt there. So your sons are looking good. Your new adopted team.
Oh, Tommy, man. I wish Tommy was here. I wish Tommy was here. He's in the chat still, so I see him. He's still barking.
I think the Bulls.
Speaking of Joker, man, gets the Christmas Day L against the Phoenix Suns, who, they're starting to make their climb. So Healthy Kevin Durant, man, didn't even hit a 3 in the game. Still beat him. It's gonna be tough, and they did it without Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the impressive part. But it's weird. It's like sometimes you just, the ball gets distributed better sometimes when a player like that's out. They get better ball movement, they get other players in the game.
Yeah.
They need to put it all together when he's in the game.
I think
Yeah,
one of the
really.
things too that I always look at when somebody does go out is if you're used to a team playing a certain way with certain, people, and they throw you a different look and you haven't either scouted it or the coaches haven't made the
It's like backup quarterbacks, man.
I'm just watching Tommy's comments over here.
Yeah.
Backup quarterbacks are
playoffs,
hard to
man.
play against sometimes because you're not ready for a backup quarterback and the
Yeah.
schemes that they put in there.
Yeah,
it makes a big difference.
You go back to like the
Tommy
Kaepernick
Kaepernick, man,
days.
I love it.
You go back to Kaepernick when he came in and they brought the option back, and it's like, he had 1 year really where he was good, and then defensive coordinators figured out how to play it and made the adjustments, and then he was pretty much obsolete.
That might be. I wonder if that's happening. I mean, CJ Stroud missed some throws on Christmas Day, but man, like he's just not the same player right now.
He did not look good. I
He
mean,
did not
just
look
like
good.
simple plays, like guys wide open on a little wheel route, and he just overthrows it by a mile.
Overthrew it.
So I think two things are going on here. This is just my speculation. One is I don't think he's been the same since they played the Bears and he had that big brother, little brother incident where he tried to actually
Caleb.
encourage Caleb. And then people took that as, dude, you're a second year player. What are you talking about trying to, whatever. Because I think he genuinely wants to help. He seems like a good dude.
Yeah.
But then two, I just saw recently that something was going on with him and Amber Rose. I mean, it's distractions. It's distractions. Like if you want to stay under the radar and not have any distractions or media, that may not. I don't know. It might not be the way to go. I don't know.
Greg says it's the Amber Rose effect.
I'm just saying. I don't know. There's something going on in his head though. There's something going on because he's not the same player.
Yeah, I mean, he also watched I think Tank Dell's his best friend on the team, and he also watched
that was tough.
One of his best friends. I mean, that injury was terrible. And you saw the list of MCL, ACL, LCL. He got
kneecap.
He's out next year.
Yeah.
They're saying he's not going to play next year.
Yeah.
Like, that's really tough. No, there's definitely a lot going on, but there's also the fact that he's on tape for a year. Once you get on tape, people can find out your tendencies. Really smart coaches can scheme against that. And so he's had some good moments. He's had some not so great moments. I like him a lot. I wish he would do well, but I feel like there's just some things going on that have kind of shook him a little bit. The Tank Dell thing for sure. And I should have mentioned that for sure. It's a problem.
Yeah. Not having Stephon Diggs. I mean, him and Diggs, I feel like had a good groove at the start of the year too. Yep. So, Diggs definitely takes attention away, but Diggs was the only one healthy. Nico Collins and Tank were out, and then now Nico's the only one healthy. There was a period where only Tank was the only healthy one when both.
Right. It's easy to scheme against that on defense if you only have one weapon out there. I mean,
yeah, so that there's
a
little bit tough there. Joe Mixon's been hurt a little bit. He's had a great year, but he's been hurt. So
plus he had to go up against the Chiefs defense and the Ravens defense, which is also not an easy task in 5 days. I mean, that's not easy.
Yeah. Especially playing from behind. You get behind either one of those teams, and it's just they're just pinning their ears back and coming after you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get behind the Ravens by 2 scores, and then they're just going to run the ball with Derrick Henry. Good luck.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
Problem.
I'm excited to watch the AFC, but we'll cut the football.
I know we keep getting back to football.
I didn't even talk about Chiefs. This is becoming just a sports talk show, which is kind of
fun. I know it is. It's cool. There's a lot of NFL. I'm excited about the NFL playoffs, though. AFC is going to be awesome.
AFC is going to be tough. I mean, I think the winner of the AFC is going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, the NFC's got some good teams. I just feel like the top teams of the AFC are tougher. I don't know. Lions are tough. Minnesota. I got to see Minnesota play at Seattle on Sunday. Went up and saw Tyson Lawrence, my buddy up there, and got to see that game. Minnesota looks tough on the road. Sam Darnold's playing really well.
So I would have thought you would have ever said that, right? Sam Darnold.
Dude, exactly. And think about this. It's possible if both of those teams win this weekend, it's possible that next weekend they're playing for the 1 seed and a bye or the 5 seed. Like that is a wild swing. You really get the 1 seed, or the
2 or 3 losses, and that's it.
Yeah. So the 5 seed would be 14 or 15-2, and the 1 seed 14-3, and the 1 seed would be 15-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to play for. I mean, that's going to be a matchup you want to watch. Because think about that: playing for a bye, or you have to go on the road in a playoff game.
My Falcons are going to sneak in at a good 9-7, be in that 4 spot. You know,
they're going to get a home game. I know.
Isn't that crazy? Awesome. They signed Cousins they signed Cousins and then they draft Penix, and everybody was like, "What are they doing?" And here we are. They bring Penix in, and
they owe Cousins a lot of money.
Yeah. You know,
good for him.
Good for both of them. You know, Cousins is playing it really well. I thought it was it's wild that they're doing that this late in the season, but Penix is older. He played 5 years in college.
He's like 26, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that guy is very calm, composed. He played at the highest level in college.
He was good at Washington, man.
He was good at Washington.
All the rookie quarterbacks this year are playing pretty well. I mean, Jane Daniels, unbelievable season.
Jane Daniels is
he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's fun to watch. He's must-watch TV in the fourth. Step in the fourth right now.
They kind of same physique too.
Yeah.
Real athletic.
He's thin, man.
Elusive. He's super thin.
Yeah.
Him and Xavier Worthy are the two thinnest guys in the league that are impact players. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Worthy's nice. All right, back to basketball really quick. So Nuggets Suns, not going to talk about the Suns, but Nuggets. All right, we're 16-12. Their starting lineup just doesn't do it for me. Murray, since last year, whatever it was, has been having his challenges. He's not the same Jamal Murray. And of course, there's still plenty of, we're not even halfway through, or we're not even to the All-Star break yet, so he can figure that out. But yeah, I don't know if Christian Brown is I don't know if Christian Brown's the right fit as a starter. I feel like he's good off the bench, energy guy.
Who'd you throw in his place? Who would you swap out if you were running that team?
Well, that's what's tough. I feel like the easy answer is obviously Russ because of what Russ does, but I feel like they want Russ's energy off the bench. He's been playing pretty decent. Okay. What I saw looked pretty decent. But
explain to me this philosophy of energy off the bench. Like, I know that sixth man is an important thing. I get that energy and that, but if the guy is better, why is he just not starting and playing more minutes?
Some guys, I mean, some guys just are better off the bench because it relieves pressure. The game. And they're not third or fourth option in the starting lineup. They can get the ball in their hand. It's just the dynamics of their skill set too. And their mental makeup, right? If they think they have to carry the team, which Russ often thought he did, later in his career, now he's off the bench and he can play a little bit freer.
I was talking to a kid that I coach, and he said, if I was going to pick a team, would I take Russell Westbrook, or would I take Derrick Rose?
In their prime?
Yeah, in their prime.
Oh, D Rose.
So this is a tough one because D Rose had bigger moments, but Russell Westbrook was a freaking machine. He was a triple-double machine.
He was, but he never won.
He never won, and he had more talent.
Well, neither of them won.
I know,
yeah, but Rose went further though, by quote unquote more so by himself. Yeah, because I don't know if. Yeah, I would.
That's a tough
Rose
one
personally. I think Westbrook's had enough talent for him to have won a chip at this point multiple times.
Yeah,
over,
I would think so too. That Thunder team had so much potential; they could have kept them together. Oh. Man, that was a miss on their part. That's for sure. Hey, to answer Thomas's question, I don't think Caleb is a fraud. I think the system has a bigger impact on players than we think. Here's my thought: we're looking at Sam Darnold playing great. We're looking at Baker Mayfield playing great, getting in different systems. We're looking at Deshaun Watson, who played great in Houston, went to Browns, sucks. Patrick Mahomes, I say this all the time to people. If Patrick Mahomes had been drafted by the Jets, nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
That's my thought. He's nobody. He's in the same, not because he can't overcome bad coaching, but bad coaching. Nobody can overcome bad coaching.
No.
I mean, it's almost impossible to overcome a bad coach. You look at championship teams, and tell me the last championship team that had a bonehead coach and a terrible front office. It's hard to find. Usually the teams that win have either a great front office, a great coach, or both.
Right.
It's almost impossible to win without that. Mm-hmm. So I'm just of the opinion that Caleb, if he were drafted by Minnesota, if he were drafted by the Chiefs, if he were drafted by Green Bay, he wouldn't
It'd
be
be
in the
different.
situation he's in right now. I
Yeah,
mean,
their
the Bears are
offensive
just
line is also
so bad.
pretty trash.
It's coaching. It's coaching in front office. Who put that in play? The front
Yeah.
office and coaching put that in play. That's not Caleb's fault.
Mhm.
Did you guys watch the end of that game last night? That barn burner 6-3.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a problem. That's so bad. Gosh,
It was
it's
an
so
intense
bad.
6-3. Caleb was just throwing up prayers, man, and some of them were getting caught.
I
It was
mean,
so funny.
At least it was a close game. I mean,
It
if it's
was.
going to be 6-3, at least it wasn't like 25-3. I mean, that game, that Ravens game against the Texans was
31-2.
just unfortunate. I mean, okay, so I'll have to say this: so 2 points in a football game is probably worse than a shutout. I think.
Yeah,
in my
I do
opinion.
too.
So in the national championship semifinal game, my freshman year, NAI Division II up in Nampa, Idaho, we played the eventual champion Bethel College in the semis, and we played the Player of the Year Rico Swanson against that team. My claim to fame is that I stole the ball from Rico at midcourt, and I went in for a layup, and he fouled me, and I went to the free throw line. The worst part of the whole thing is that I only made one of the free throws, and that was my only point for the game. That sucked.
Hey, at least you got a
Yeah,
story.
1 point in basketball means you definitely missed a shot and you didn't do anything else the rest of the game. It's like a safety in football. It's terrible.
I like how you made that connection.
1 point.
Brutal.
Tommy's talking about Chicago sports all needed new ownership. Yeah, I agree. He did mention this that I had up there for a second. Rose is the youngest MVP in history, and they did have to create new cap
Yeah,
rules.
I mean the dude was electric. I'm not gonna lie, the guy, he was definitely electric. I'm just thinking if you're trying to build a championship team, do you pick Rose or do you pick Westbrook?
You
I
pick
pick
Rose.
every day.
Yep, you pick Rose.
I mean, knowing what I know now, I mean, all right, it's hindsight, but man,
I know,
he was,
right?
he
Man,
was
if that guy hadn't gotten injured, golly.
I think it's as simple as this. KD went to go play with Steph and Clay, won 2 chips. Would have won a third if Clay didn't go down, and whatnot. And then, so yeah, I definitely think players' personnel matter. He's had multiple really good teams in his career. He's going to be one of those guys where he just certain people could have gotten over the hump, and I would.
He's a Charles Barkley. He's a Patrick Ewing.
Yeah,
Great teams.
Unfortunately,
couldn't get it done.
The one thing that I wish there's no
Horrible.
stat really to measure it, but it's like, going back to the staff thing with KD going there is how easy it is to play with somebody and how willing they are to adjust their game to fit somebody. I mean, you got KD, he's amazing, right? He's one of the best players, but he hasn't won a championship.
It hasn't worked anywhere else.
Right.
It hasn't worked anywhere else.
Steph changed his game in order to maximize the value of KD. And, I mean, to me, that's one of those things that's really hard to measure, and to quantify, right? Superstars that are willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
There's not a lot.
Very tough. Devin Booker did a great job of that, I think, during the Olympics. He kind of just said, hey, I'm just going to be the utility guy, do what I need to do. He earned a starting spot, and he did pretty well, or at least I can't remember. I think he started some games.
I think he started most of them, honestly.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that. I mean, it took a lot of maturity for KD because him and Steph can be one of the best player on the planet at any point, especially during that time of their career. So, yeah, it takes maturity to not be like Harden, say, I've got to go get 40 every single game. Like, okay, that's great.
It didn't hurt that they played fast, which means that they got more shots. So, you can spread the ball around a lot more if you're playing fast up-tempo basketball, which they did. They ran all the time.
Everybody touches the ball, so they're engaged in the offense, whether they're shooting or not. Right.
You feel like you're a part of everything, 100%. And as opposed to the one-on-one stuff where you run all the way down the court for offense, you don't touch the ball one time, you got to run all the way back.
Yeah.
I hate that. I mean, I don't even know the shots, but I want to touch
basketball. Yeah. I guess what I don't get from whether it comes like front office or coaching and all that kind of stuff. You watch the teams in the 2000s, so from 2000 to 2010 with the Pistons and the Spurs, the ones that actually and obviously the Lakers with their system. But I mean, it's not pass them the ball and then like watch the player go one-on-one and everybody's just standing. Like when you go watch those highlights and when you watch those teams play, it's continuous movement. The Warriors were so good because Steph and Clay do not stop running and jogging.
Never.
It's nonstop. And I just, in a copycat league, like when you watch some of these offenses, and this is like, I really like the Mavericks team and their makeup, but sometimes it's just like so boring
Yeah.
to kind of watch.
It's like
because-
bad high school with really talented people.
Yeah.
That's what
Exactly.
it's like.
Yeah, it's
You know?
I just don't get it, man. You gotta be able to have that movement and stuff, and it's almost just too predictable. And
Yeah.
I think the Celtics have gotten a little bit better about that with their team makeup now. But yeah, man, like that's part of what I think hurts the NBA a little bit is some of that can be really boring to watch
Yeah.
when it's just pass around the horn, nobody's near the paint, in the paint, no movement around there.
Annoying.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was actually talking to one of the high school coaches here. He coaches the crosstown rival, but he went to our high school, and they got a kid that my son's played with and against, their same age, and he's 6'5", scoring 28 a game, but they can't win.
Yeah,
because he's got to get his, and it's like that. No matter the sport, if you have your best player that's not willing to share the ball and has to get his, it's contagious, and then it just feeds itself, and it's crazy.
Right. Well, and then if you feel like one player is that way, then other people start to take the same attitude.
Right.
Because why would I play team for you if you're not playing team for me?
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Steph gives up some shots to KD. KD gives up some shots to Steph, and it just keeps going.
One, since I always got to plug my kids' high school, so we just won a tournament last weekend.
Throw some of the highlights up there. Let's get them up on the screen.
Oh yeah, I don't have them here, but I could always drop in the comments. But we're seeing everybody's going zone because he was just driving, attacking, and dishing. So we're seeing a 2-1-2, a 1-3-1, a 2-3 zone, and the team in the championship. I mean, and then teams are face guarding them. But the great thing is, he's like, I don't have to score to impact the game. Championship game, he had 5 points and 10 assists. And
dude, if you're getting face guarded, the number one
the
thing you do is you just become a screener because then you take two people out.
Exactly.
So you get, face guard me all you want. I'll just turn into a screener and let someone else shoot all day wide open.
Yeah, he'd just be like, throw the ball over there, and he just goes up and does his thing, and he still gets open and gets the ball, but it's like, just making the guy work hard, and it's great to see when they game plan. But my point with that is our other stud had 30 in the championship game, and it's like we've got two other kids that can score 20 a game. So it's like if you have that selflessness, people have to pick their poison, and somebody's going to step up, and that also spreads like wildfire in a positive way, right? It's like, hey man, they're playing for me. I'm going to work hard. And that goes back to the Warriors days when they were just, clicking.
Different person, different night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we've all played basketball too. Once you get your bucket and stuff, you're more energized. So you going back on defense is a lot different. Just like the wide receivers. I mean, I've seen them talk about it, but when they don't get the ball for a whole first half, they're deflated. Right. They go to the media, they start crying and stuff. Why keep running routes? You're just wasting your time. And so, it's so true for basketball. If you can get the other guys involved early, especially your defensive guys, if they can get a little bit of energy, that makes such a big impact on the game.
Yeah. Yep. So we got a couple of minutes. Jimmy in Miami, is he going to get traded or not? He wants out. Pat Riley says no way.
I mean, my take is I don't think they should trade him. I get it. Something doesn't sound like it's going well. I mean, they're 1-2 years removed away from, being in the finals, and he was one of the best players on the planet at that point, top 3, for what he was doing. So I feel like they've drafted well. They're still young. It's not one of those things where they've got a bunch of washed up guys. They're all gone, the ones that were a little bit more washed up. So I feel like he can figure it out there. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to Golden State. I don't think he needs to go to Phoenix because I know that those were the top 2. But I feel like they just need to figure it out, man. It's the East. You're going to have a much better way to, opportunity to compete, I think.
Do you think at this stage in his career, he would really make a difference on the Warriors or the Suns?
Yes.
You think so? Like dramatically positive difference?
I do.
Yeah. I think if you put him, I don't know about the Suns. I don't watch him as closely, but if you put him on the Warriors and he's got, that just gives somebody that can get a tough bucket when you need a tough bucket, outside of Steph.
Yeah.
I mean, playoff Jimmy's tough.
Playoff Jimmy's
Playoff
just
Jimmy is
different,
tough.
man.
That's
You
true.
know.
He's
Yeah,
different than
that is
regular
true.
season Jimmy.
Yeah. Tommy says Jimmy for Beal swap. I don't see that happening. I'd love to see him in OKC.
No,
I don't even know if they have a.
no.
I mean, OKC is so just polished where they're at.
Let's not do that. Atlanta would
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
You would like Atlanta. That's true.
Yeah.
You know, I will say if there was 2 teams like outside, no bias aside, I would actually be interested to watch him on the Grizzlies and also potentially the Rockets. I think that those 2 teams, just because of their makeup, how those guys play, kind of more rough, rugged.
I'd like to see him on the Grizzlies more than the Rockets. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, he'd definitely be fun to watch on the Grizzlies. They'd be tough. But
Yeah.
I
Who
think
would you trade for him on the Warriors? Who would you give up?
Jonathan Kuminga, hopefully not Wiggins. I would
Yeah.
really like for the Warriors to keep Wiggins, but Kuminga, Pajemski, and then probably picks.
Yeah. Definitely Pajemski. He has been garbage this year.
Yeah, yeah. His trade value's low though right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd just make some salaries right, but he's probably really low salary too because he's on a
Yeah,
rookie
that'd be an interesting trade to see what they'd have to give up for that.
contract. Yeah. So I don't know. But
Warriors have to make some move though. They really do.
Hey, by the
they're
way,
just not there.
I was just watching a documentary on Netflix about the Orlando Magic, I think it was. And I didn't realize I didn't remember this. Did you know that the Magic drafted
Wait, time
Chris
out.
Webber?
When was this Magic documentary?
It was like 2016, the one on
No,
Shaq.
it was one that is it maybe is one on tech, but I just hadn't
Okay.
watched it before. All right.
I was
So
gonna
anyways,
say,
I'm
that's the
watching
most
this.
random documentary I've heard.
I didn't realize this. I didn't realize that the Magic drafted Chris Webber
Yeah.
and
I
then
forgot
traded
that
him to
too.
Golden State. And the Magic got Penny Hardaway and 3 first-round picks.
Mm,
That's insane. That is criminal. That is
Yeah.
stealing.
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I
That's-
watched that too a couple weeks ago. It was back up
Yeah.
on Netflix, so I watched it too.
Yeah, I just hadn't seen it the first time around. I watched that. I was like, dang, I did not realize that was the trade. That's crazy. Like I could see maybe one a first round pick and maybe like a second or something like that, but 3 first round picks and Penny Hardaway, who ended up being a baller.
He's another guy that just knees, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Those trades make
Shaq-
such a big difference with the
Yeah.
picks, man. People underestimate that because it takes 5 years to actually see those things, 5 to 10 years to really see come to fruition and say, okay, this
Right.
is what the deal actually looked like.
Mhm.
Right. Well, and a few years later, you saw Orlando playing the Bulls in the playoffs and beating them.
Yeah.
You know, they had a squad. Back
That
then.
That was
Went-
that was the year that Jordan came back mid-season.
Yeah. Yeah. Jordan wasn't in he wasn't in his prime yet.
That's when
second time around.
he's not 23 or whatever he said. He
He was in baseball shape. He was in 45. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was the mistake. And that was when Nick Anderson choked at the line. He was never the same.
Yep.
Missed 4 free throws at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So
And they
I
barely
just watched
barely
it. That's the only reason I remember all that stuff now.
Yeah, I did. That trade to me still blows me away. Talking about trades, like that's criminal from Golden State to give that up. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
Well, you probably got to get to you got word on the street.
No, we're off today. We took one day off for enjoying the holiday. Everybody
Nice.
gets a chance to just take a breather this week, and then we're back next week with that. And then
Tommy,
it's
any last
all
thoughts?
roads lead to Broker Carry Summit. So we're starting the hustle and bustle for that, leading towards April. So
Right on. Tommy, any last comments before we get out of here? Drop it in the comments.
get better, man. We need you back in the studio,
get
man.
better.
That's for sure. Hey,
He's yelling
also
too
we
much
didn't. I
last
don't know
night.
if we did. So we didn't give a shout out to Nerf, dude. Dude led the last round of picks that we had.
Well, we
Yeah.
had him on the show.
The week
So
8 round of picks.
And then let's see.
He was 15
he
and
did.
3. He blew it up.
Yeah, that was when we had him on. Right after that. Were you on that one, Trey? Who was?
I thought that was the games that were on the 20th, right? Was he? Did he come in for that one?
So we didn't have
That's
picks
not-
last week. It was for whatever reason the pool didn't have it, so that was the last
Oh,
week.
I thought we
had.
didn't have him on the 13th. Oh.
Yeah. So
Well,
make sure you
anyways,
have your picks in this weekend, though.
picks are in.
Picks
Yeah.
are in, I think.
Yeah.
We're on week 9, right? Is that what we're on?
I'd have to
Yeah,
look
week
at it.
9.
Yeah. And all around standings, hate to say it, but
You're at the top, Trey.
You're
We're
up
coming for you, man.
by 2 games. I've had
just
some
barely.
really poor weeks, so I need to turn it around.
Dude, I had a pretty bad week last week. I was like 10-7. It was not good at all. So, well, we got a lot of games this week. So,
Tommy's
Could be
picture
good.
in. He says the Bulls need to blow it up. That's his party comment. So
that can mean multiple things, Thomas. That can mean
Yeah.
go out and run, or that can mean just dismantle the whole thing.
awesome.
I think
The
we know
whole
which one
thing.
you mean. Yeah, dismantle. the
All
whole
right,
thing.
gents.
Well, Merry Christmas, fellas. Happy New
Merry
Year. We'll
Christmas,
see you
fellas.
guys
Happy New Year.
2025.
Yep.
Looking
see you
forward
next
to
year.
it.
Peace out, everybody. See ya.
Cheers.
Yeah.